on one side, Rich Dynasty, a team that is essentially, I think, at least if not 2/5, 3/5 of the roster that top threed in the Oceanic qualifier to go over to Taipei and compete for a spot potentially in the LCP this year. And then on the other side, the Chudlings, who have just, come out swinging in this competition.
Yeah. I mean, this honestly, today, I think this match in particular has the most recognizable names. We've got names that I think everyone is aware of, and some names that maybe a year ago weren't too big, but the likes of which carry such weight to it now. Everyone is aware of the strength of Mara in the mid lane. Everyone knows the majors that she has at her capabilities. We're talking Orianna, we're talking Anivia, we're talking Mel, we're talking Syndra. Like, anything that is played in that mid lane is going to be played to perfection. And on the other side, I mean, Aqua is such a well-known name. We know Aquamarine, baby. J-Bar as well. I think eyes on. I'm going to be paying attention to the Chudlings bot lane. In terms of Rich Dynasty, I'm only looking top, though. I really love seeing BBB play. I'm hoping to get his Rumble. What about you? What pick are you looking for?
Oh, I don't know. Again, I kind of want to lean into something a little bit more fun, a little bit more unique, because for the longest time at the highest level play, we see the same stuff rotated in and out. There's not a huge amount of deviation unless you're Team Secret Wales and you say Pun can actually play the champions that he wants to play. But so far, we are seeing a pretty consistent target. Talon and Nocturne being banned away here from Chudlings. I would imagine that is entirely targeted away against Urgeran. Yeah, look, in the past, you could have played them in other lanes, but then those are jungle picks, and Urgeran really coming into his own, it feels like, in this jungle on those champions. And then Annie taken away from Rich Dynasty.
Yeah, the Annie pick is an interesting one. I have a feeling Chinchilla, a very good user of off-meta support. There's some good off-meta junglers, Heimerdinger, off-meta supports, such as the Annie. And when you get these off-meta picks, you want to take their comfort pick. So I actually think that's a direct a point. That's not for Ma, not to be confused. But that Anivia ban is for Ma. You cannot have Ma on Anivia.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of those off-meta supports. I mean, you look back in the day and someone said, Pantheon support, you'd think they were an absolute clown, but very viable, does a lot of damage. My personal favorite was the support Syndra back in the day. A little bit harder to execute.
Really?
The skill ceiling was a little bit... That was something I played. I was an absolute terror in ranked. But look, if you can hit those scatter of the weeks, you can make it work. And unfortunately for Urgeran, most of his pool is being put to the sword right now.
I think we have like there's two sort of sides of the coin. I think we're just going to get, actually I have to correct myself here. Mara, I believe, played a touch of Annie here and there. And we're getting the two sides of the coin, which is Rich Dynasty is banning out Odoran and will be banning out Ma in particular on the side of Chudlings. Let's see who can play better under pressure without their comfort picks. Who has the most varied pool? Who has the champion Ocean in particular? It's going to be good to see.
Yeah, unfortunately at this stage, being a best of one, you don't get that much depth taken away from champion pools. Obviously, best of three in a fearless situation, then you can actually start to chip away. But Ambassador not being banned out this time could be for BBP, could be for Poltron and that jungle. Both are pretty scary prospects if you're a Chudlings fan.
Yeah, and I mean, I can tell you without a doubt, I'll predict it right now, we're going to get a CC mid laner from Ma, combined with the public execution. I'm going to take a wild swing and say that is a top lane Ambessa. If we can get Poltron on something like, as the Rise is getting taken away here, Soar on Rise, I think we're going to get an also CC jungler of Poltron, unless we get his Olaf, which I would love to see.
Yeah, okay, so Rise and Pantheon, so they are going to have a decent amount of global pressure. Once that 6 comes online, the Grand Starfall, the Realm Warp, it is going to have to be very, very clean in terms of those macro pressures for Rich Dynasty. You don't want to be taking those 2v2s in situations where you are unsure if those ultimates are up and available, because suddenly what seemed like a 2v1, a 2v2 is suddenly a 4v2, and you find yourself in a lot of trouble. But now going to lock in that Ahri. Classic control mage, very strong, great in terms of team fight potential. If I'm being perfectly honest, I'm looking for a Vi in the jungle, something like that pairs synergistically that well with the Ahri. And my favorite combo, which is the cease and desist, the public execution into the cease and desist, which is, as everyone knows, if what did I say? It was copyright infringement or something was the combination I came up, because everyone knows anyone that sent a cease and desist should be public executed. Due process. That was the name. That was the name that we came up with.
That's cold. Holy shit. Damn. I think I think that is just a classic. I do expect we'll be seeing. I think the end we'll definitely be seeing an ADC that might have a little bit more mobility as well, because we're already building the side of the mobility for Rich Dynasty here. We have Ambessa with that Drokehound step. You've got so much movement, so much on the Ahri, and I think we'll be following that with something that dashes like a Vi. I think a Vi honestly here is perfect, even with a Karma. Followed against, we're getting counterpicked here with the Nautilus. Naut into Karma matchup. How does that go, Panda?
I mean, Karma is just lane bully. I think there's no real other way to describe it, but there is going to be a point in the game where if it hasn't been the best of times in the bot lane, even going even, she does struggle to find as much impact as, say, a Nautilus will. Once that depth charge comes online, is going to be much more capable of influencing these team fights, whereas Chinchilla is going to be, fighting to try and get that root off if she can, try and keep those health bars as healthy as possible, shielding. So, I mean, realistically, Karma does reasonably well in the laning phase, but it's when it comes to team fight times that shift can happen.
Yeah, and here comes a little bit more of an angled ban here. BBP GP will not be seeing. He performed very well on it last time, even with the constant pressure of a jungler camping him in last week's tour. Won't be getting that pleasure this time, but I don't think that is a good pick here. I don't think that ban is very good here, because I really do believe this is his Ambessa top. He can play Ambessa top, and I think if you take a look, we're banning that Renekton. They're banning out one of the biggest Ambessa counters in the top lane.
Yeah, I mean, trying to deny those safe picks away from Zialo. I mean, we saw what Willy Wonka was able to do with Sion as well. So they're reading this as an Ambessa jungle. That is what the Chudlings have read into with this draft. And I mean, Rich Dynasty have the potential to really upset that.
I got to tell you right now, I'm confused. I'm really confused, because anyone in OS could tell you that is BBP on top lane. I think the Renekton ban immediately tells you it's gonna be an Ambessa top. So I'm really confused as to why we keep banning top laners. But maybe this is maybe there's a 5-head strategy going on here that I'm just not seeing. I'm blind to,
Yeah, and especially with that Poppy ban as well, you'd imagine banned away from Zayla in the top lane, because they've already got the Panther. So it wasn't going to be a Poppy jungle. You've already got the Nautilus, so it's not going to be a Poppy support. So I think they're doing what they can. So they're going to go on. Should do all right. Able to help later in the stage of the game. There is a potential that BBP just completely bullies out this lane, though. Unfortunately, when you sort of hit that eclipse timing, Ambessa does just ramp up to a pretty insane margin, and Ord can't really match that.
Yeah, I also think, if we take a look on the side of Chudlings here, we've got a lot of CC, which is very good for the side of an already high mobility comp as we get the Raze severe lock-in. Do you like that paired with the Karma? You're a fan of that paired with the Karma?
I think I'm a little annoyed that they picked the support early, because I think Brom value is just crazy this game. You've got Pantheon, Nautilus, Ornn, all melee champions. And there are a few supports that punish those melee champions as well as someone like the Ornn does, so he's going to be able to play. Chudlings have drafted a really short-range comp, and that is problematic, especially, I mean, you bring the Trundle and Voltron in the jungle, you are going to have a really, really hard time sticking in. They've drafted insanely short range. Chudlings aren't going to be able to play this game. By the time they get in range to fight, On the Hunt's popped, public execution into the backline. Chudlings if they win this,
they're looking for that heavy snowball.
No, this is a pure ego challenge. They want to win this and prove that they can draft themselves into a pit and still do it. But I don't think they can. They have given Rich Dynasty everything they could possibly want with that draft.
Yeah, I mean, their longest ability, I believe, their furthest ranged ability is about 300 range away, honestly. I really am struggling to see.
Their longest range ability without terrain is Dredge Line. Let that sink in.
Yeah, that's a little bit. It's an interesting. I mean, let's try and get in their heads here. You're looking at Rich Dynasty's comp. What is the thought process from Chudlings here to draft such a low range comp?
If they can survive the lane phase without losing too much, if they can get into the mid game, if they can start to get those items online, it's actually a scary comp.
Yes.
Ryze, Pantheon, they have an insane amount of macro pressure. Yeah, they've got macro pressure. That is the main thing. Yeah. Realm Warp, Grand Starfall, they can quickly turn the tides on a fight. Zeri scales into Oblivion. Sivir also does reasonably well. Can just sit there and hit the Ornn, and those The ricochets will just carry on to the rest of the team. But if Chudlings can survive, if they can get Rise and Zeri, two of the craziest scaling champions, to the later stages of the game, there is a very real possibility Rich Dynasty get run over. The problem being is they are going to really struggle to get to the later stages of this game. Even with an Ornn, they've drafted a Trundle. Like, your biggest tank is going to be paper at a certain point in the team fight.
Yeah, that Subjugate just removing, is it 30% of armor and magic resist, or is it 20%? I think it's some crazy number like that, and just making, you're pretty much going to make Poltron just this, the biggest unit possible. I mean, you have such a front line already with this Ambessa. I'm going to suspect going Conqueror here over the Grasp, and you're going to have the Karma Shielding on top of that. You add in the Ari Charms, you add in that Severe's just long range on the hunt, providing so much move speed. Rich Dynasty's comp just looks so good into this such short range comp. I'm still so, a bit confused over these bans from the Chudlings. I still don't really understand this GP Scion ban when it was so obviously an Ambessa. And then it raises the other question of, what is the Ornn doing in this comp? What is the Ornn's use in this comp? I'm
safety. It was purely drafted for safety. Like, that was it. We want a champion that isn't going to just roll over in lane phase. Honestly, the craziest part is your best long-range engagement setup is the Ornn with the Horn. You then drop the Grand Skyfall on top and then hope that J-Bar's in position to capitalize. It is a desperate draft. I will give it that. Like, it does have the tools. It needs to run over this comp. But there is so much keep away in the hands of Rich Dynasty that your sticking power isn't going to matter. That's the real problem.
I am just like a little bit, I'm a bit in shock, because I'm thinking of how these future team fights are going to go. We're going to get a Grand Starfall. We're going to get a Call of the Forge God. Those are going to be our key engage tools. Yes, maybe a dredge line from the Nautilus. But who are you engaging on? Because that Ari is going to, Spirit Rush away. The Drakehound Step is going to ensure you can never touch that Ambessa, and you're going to have the Spell Shield and the movement speed from the Karma and the Severe. It's going to be messy. It's going to be messy.
I don't know. All that I know for sure is Rich Dynasty have been given everything they could possibly want heading onto the Rift, and Chudlings have drafted themselves into such a hole that they may never see the light of day again. Hello. As we look to jump onto the Rift, getting game 2 of the evening started. Oh my goodness. The Chudlings do not make things easy on themselves by any stretch. I'm really loving it, as we can see the runes here as well. I was dead wrong. BBP's chosen the Grasp, looking to sort of angle in these early fights, and we can look, there's the runes right there. We've got the Phase Rush on the Rise. Really classic. A sort of slightly more aggressive take with this Arcane Comet from Chinchilla here on the Karma, and the PTA on the Trundle is going to allow him a lot of skirmishing power early. Trundles usually are picking up that lethal tempo, and going this PTA early, I think we are going to see some early scuttle fights into this Pantheon, into this sort of anything that wants to roam down. Yes, the slap fight in the top lane, classic. That is pretty much how it is going to go for the better part of this engagement, I think. PvP, from memory, has been a very, very solid top laner. Whether he or Willy Wonka walks away the better, it's hard to say. I think we'll have to wait until that matchup does happen. It's presumably at some point in the playoffs.
I would absolutely die to see that matchup. I wouldn't be able to tell you. I'd be rooting for my boy BBP, and I think he'd hold out strong. So look at that Karma poke with that Arcane Comet. Almost 1/4 the health bar of that Zeri.
Yeah, I mean, that is the problem with drafting something so short range in the Zeri. Oh, engagement in the mid lane. Saw, he's looking for it on Damar, and she finds herself in a bit of trouble. Does have the CS lead, does have the teleport, so will be able to get back quick smart to this lane matchup. And Saw cannot say the same, does not have the teleport once again.
Yeah, and I mean, the wave clear is getting a little bit rough as the Rise goes low on mana, so the TP is actually going to allow for a really advantageous wave state for this Ari. And with no TP on the Rise, once again, a greed of the Ghost. We've seen that in that last game. It didn't work out. That greed on the Ghost doesn't work out, and we're getting it again. I don't know. I don't think that is really what you want, especially into someone so mobile as the Ari. You're barely matching her with the Ghost, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. And from now until the final whistle, there is just going to be that added advantage that Mar will have in terms of getting around the Rift. Yeah, look, Realm Warp, Great and all, does lack the ability to match a teleport in terms of that complete crossing the map, even if it is a slightly slowed down version compared to previously.
I mean, see, the double range bot lane is really taking its toll on the likes of the Chudlings here. Both half health, and that scuttle is going to be easily secured. A smart back from Erdogan, knowing there's no chance, there's not even a hope in hell. We won't repeat the mistakes of last games in the sense of, let's just give them that bot scuttle.
I mean, the real big problem with the Chudlings bot lane is they are just going to completely lack prio in this lane. Because of their short range, playing into a double range matchup, they aren't going to be able to clear those waves quite as comfortably, especially given that Sivir is on the other side of that matchup. It's going to be a rough one.
It certainly will be, and take a look at the mana on this Ornn here. It's absolutely down to 0. BBP has a bit of an angle if he wants to look for it, and you know they're both thinking about it because look at his
Chinchilla, he's looking for a bit of a tropical holiday here. He's found himself an angle in. It's going to be the flash at the very minimum, but Zayla is just going to get run down, waste the flash as well, and BBP comes up big with the first blood.
Yeah, I mean, that's a classic BBP moment. Take a look. No mana on Zayla. There's absolutely nothing he can do staying here. He wants to push this wave in, but he just can't.
The worst part is, look where Erdran is. He's just cleared that scuttle. And unfortunately, due to timing, does not see Chinchilla beelining his way top.
Yeah, that's just a really, really good movement there. Good pathing from Chinchilla there. And just a classic support ganks top. Good luck top laners now. Really good luck because BBP with this lead, specifically getting that kill, picking up that pickaxe. Oh my god, his damage skyrockets.
No, unfortunately, in what should have been a relatively alright matchup for the Ornn, he now finds himself in a lane under fire. Will consistently be looked at. They know it's a point of weakness. If they can accelerate BBP even further, this game becomes much, much cleaner for them to play. That public execution really does undo a lot of what the Chudlings will be aiming for. Yeah.
And something that always puts me in a good mood, Chinchilla has chosen the Dark Seal start first. We've got 1 stack on it. I'm hoping to see that turn into a Medjai's without a doubt in my mind.
Yeah, look, support weak. Second mid laner, even better. It's exactly what we're looking for. So far,
you can never underestimate the Karma, can you? It's such a strong pick.
No. You never underestimate the power of the Scout's code. That is a given in League of Legends, and until that other shoe drops, we won't hear anything otherwise. But yeah, I mean, accelerating what is already a very rough lane for this area to play by giving that little bit of a steroid to a Karma, who, again, innately has a pretty significant amount of damage at its disposal. It's not a great time for Arco, I'm going to be honest.
Look at Erdogan here, by the way. He's just sort of lying in wait. There might be a potential for something to happen here. They don't know that he's here.
Potentially, I mean, realistically, I think if you Erdran,
he's
probably...
backed.
Yeah, I was going to say, power farming's probably your best bet. Get yourself to 6 as quickly as possible, because that is going to be your easiest time in terms of affecting these lanes. But Poltron and Chinchilla find a window. They're going to look to start up this dragon down on the bot side. Not that Poltron needs all that much help with the Sheen in pocket.
No, I mean, that is... Trundle is such a sort of... It's a bit of a strange pick.
It's going to be a bit of a hound out by the Chudlings. They're going to make this uncomfortable. Rich Dynasty looks to try and take it themselves, but they are sitting on a ward. J-Bar is there looking for the cutoff. If they pull that tree, there might be an angle, but no, they've corralled themselves. The Chamblers connect. Big engagement from Mar, but they find the turnaround. A kill onto Poltron, and it's a kill that goes the way of the Chudlings. Looking for more. Erdran steps too close, but lucky to limp himself away. Spear out. He's looking to secure it, but it's Arco for 1. They get the dragon, and the Chudlings coming up big despite how this started. The lightning skews through the wall. Raze has to run, but the fangs are locked in. The Chudlings have chomped a chunk out of Rich Dynasty's calf.
Wow, what a teamfight turn. I mean, we have to take a look at this. More importantly, take a look at the smites here. Poltron had a better smite. Poltron had upgraded smite, but it doesn't matter because this teamfight just goes so terribly. It goes really badly. Pantheon putting out so much damage and getting out on that 1 HP leads to Mar not having the extra Spirit Rush, allowing for the kill and all those resets to come into play, giving so much health from all the Triumph stacks, and pretty much just allowing this teamfight to turn completely. A pretty crazy turnout, and I'm very happy.
That was crazy.
Yeah, really happy for Chudlings here, without a doubt in my mind.
This is looking dangerously like last night's Storm's match against the Broncos. Starting up 14-0 in the half. You're looking phenomenal. Boom. Final whistle blows 18-14 as the Broncos work it back. So Chudlings have done a great job of capitalizing a bit of an overstep from the Rich Dynasty crew and taking them down a peg.
Yeah, and Poltron, we could sort of see it there in that first sheen. While you do an insane amount of damage with that chomp, you sacrifice health. He had only got the sheen compared to the Pantheon's tunneler that he had in that little fight. And we really saw it there. He just got blown up. One single spear hit, bang, you're dead. Whole fight turns.
I mean, it's crazy. Both Arca and Erdran limping away from that engagement. Erdran now having that cryo, being able to get himself into positions to start really impacting the roof, works himself over the grubs, has support from Soar as well. So they'll get the one, drag the second out. And BBP's coming in, looking for an angle. He's just going to be... Oh, I thought Erdran was going to walk it out. He's got support, but he could find himself in trouble here. Okay, here comes Poltron. Oh, it's reset, but it shouldn't matter.
It's so awkward, but it still is going to be... at least one of the grubs over to Poltron. Very kind of BBP to leave that. It's a small misstep from the side of Rich Dynasty for sure, but we are gonna need this advantage to just be continued to be followed up.
Red's line, the lightning crash as well. Chinchilla's in a bit of trouble. They're looking to run him down, but there's no mana there for Aqua. Realm Warp coming through. Saw looking to get involved in this bot lane skirmish. The boomerang blade goes out. Can they get in position to get the root down? The root prison, it's not gonna connect in time. And Ray's looking to turn it around. Dredge line, and unfortunately, it's going to be Jaber the first to fall. A two-piece for the Rich Dynasty duo. And Chudlings, they lose all three. They get run over, laid low, flat as a pancake.
Wow, it's a complete turnaround of what happened in the river. It just happened that we just turned a huge fight that looked amazing. We're getting the gank from the Rise. And it is a triple kill. I mean, that's kind of crazy, all things considered. Now, the game's equal. Except we have a gold lead on the side of Rich Dynasty now. Ray's playing that fight beautifully. The damage put out there, the confidence we can see here. You know, there's a Rise coming in. It looks, by all accounts, it looks terrible. But watch Ray's movement. He walks up. He understands his limits. Even low on mana, he gets hooked by the Nautilus. He continues, and he picks up 3. That's kind of crazy. Everyone moving in harmony now. A really well-rehearsed bot lane, you can know for sure.
I mean, it was a dangerous dance, and unfortunately the Chudlings just completely forgot their steps along the way. And they're left with some sore toes as now Rich Dynasty swing it back, find themselves with a near on 1,000 gold lead. Not quite the acceleration we saw in our last one, but Saw this time falls victim to Mara as she dances around with that Spirit Rush. And again, issues compound for the poor Chudlings.
Yeah, and I've got to point out another really great gank from Chinchilla there. Chinchilla walking mid there, allowed for that to be available.
Oh, and it's hit midnight, unfortunately. What was meant to be a ball and dancing and sweet music and glass slippers completely turns. It's now a pumpkin alone, no longer the carriage they needed. And the Chudlings, they bite off more than they can chew once again, but here comes Erdran in the backside. They find the shutdown of the Rays, looking for more Chinchilla. Can he get anything? No, it's a double kill. The cosmic intervention that is this Pantheon with the Grand Starfall swings momentum yet again.
Okay, and I mean, it's back forth. It looked bad for a second there. It really did. That was the time that it looked bad for the Chudlings there, but a really good, you talked about that macro in the draft, what this Pantheon offers, that Grand Starfall coming in and helping that Zeri. And look at the gold graph here. We've gone up, we've gone down, we've gone up again. And let's take a look at it. That's going straight down as we capture a little bit more back for the side of the Chudlings. We're up and down, up and down.
Yeah, I mean, that last game we had Willy Wonka at his chocolate factory and everything was sweet and happy. This time around, it's a bit of a nightmare. It's much like the behind the scenes of that same chocolate factory. We're seeing how that chocolate is made, and unfortunately, it's not a pretty process.
It certainly isn't, and neither side...
Oh, BBP popping execution goes out, but Saw quick on that trigger, pops the flash. And Dragon number 2 now on the cards, this time for Rich Dynasty. They're not going to be forced off. You can hear that Eagles cry and the guitar slide in the background as we do have a real game on our hands this time.
Yeah, this is really, I think this is going to be one of the long ones, honestly. I think we're in for the long haul. It's not going to be a 25-minute game. I think we're getting to late game because of how just sort of volatile both sides have been. Take a look at the gold difference. Only a 200 gold lead over to the side of Rich Dynasty. I mean, we can look at Erdogan and Zeri, Ascension here, have the highest golds in the game, gold amounts in the game. But they're pretty much neck and neck, honestly, in terms of how it's split even amongst the side of Rich Dynasty.
Yeah, unfortunately, the difference maker is the fact that J-Bo is so far behind Chinchilla at the moment. That's what actually equalizes things out in the end.
Yes.
As it stands.
I have to say as well, Panda, the Dark Soul's been sold. That Dark Seal, that's left the inventory of my dearest Karma.
Oh, yeah, ambitious. Oh, the Trenchline caught by the Spell Shield. Great there from Raze to understand what the idea was from the Chudlings. He's not going to be Mufasa just yet. The Lion King still stands in the bot lane.
Yeah, we have that redemption first. Speaking of that Karma again, we got that redemption first. Really strong. While it has been nerfed, still a very strong item. And really good into the likes of this Pantheon and Rise, where you need to be have a large amount of map control.
Oh, Zayla flashes under the tower. He wants to clear that wave desperately, knowing full well that they are beelining for him. They get some damage away. Zayla does clear things. He's safe for now. As he will look to get that recall off.
Yeah, we've got some items coming through, and pretty much, something did occur bot lane. Bit of a prio push.
Trying to put Raze back in the dungeon. Oh, they're looking for it again. Saw in trouble. The Realm Warp. No, not enough HP. He's thrown in jail. No way out for him. And that is the power of these control mage Aries. With that support, with the likes of a Trundle, Yvai's in the jungle. Suddenly, you're left red and dead as you wait for that grey screen to end.
Yeah, but we are trading. While we do get the Rise kill, we're trading for the bot lane turret. We do get that full bot lane turret out. We've got Zeri, a very nice gold lead here. And this is the person. This is, honestly, I'd say the glue to winning this game for the likes of the Chudlings is this Zeri. If she becomes this unstoppable force, you know, the CC is... It's hard to hit. It honestly is very hard to hit on the side of Rich Dynasty here. You know, yes, you've got that Ari charm, but that's honestly your best bet. The public execution plus Trundle Pillar combo is good as well, but if the Zeri's big enough, has enough movement, honestly, it's going to be really hard to shut her down.
Absolutely, but like Thieves in the Night, Chinchilla and Poltron walk away with the Chudlings blue buff. You can see Erdran just corralled a little bit here. They will get the vision. They know full well that there is danger lurking in the fog of war, and Aqua does take some significant punishment on the way back to lane here. They're looking for it though. Erdran, they've got Saw as well. That Grand Starfall still on cooldown, so he can't just propel himself into the back line.
Yeah, it's going to be just a sort of safely trade back. We're not going to give you this tower either, but we're not going to get any kills for it. We have that cull now completed on the Severe. We get a nice little bit of a gold boost, but still not capturing over that 1k on that Zeri, who's picked up the Fiend Finder Bolts, a really nice item. It's coming on the new season, a really nice item. Gives you that extra, I believe it's the first 3 autos of attack speed, and they deal an extra bit of true damage. Really powerful in the likes of Zeri.
Yeah, guaranteed crits on a champion like Zeri. Going to be big value, of course, as it stands. I mean, this river has been a problem point starting off early for Rich Dynasty. They lose that prio, and you can see how much vision has been locked in through it. BBP, the banana himself, getting back up to this top lane to chuck Zayla back on that back foot. He wants to keep that pressure on.
Yeah, and we saw here, he TP'd top lane. Seemingly they're trying to secure this Rift Herald, but with Dragon spawning in 50, we leave no TP on the side of BBP here. So maybe I think they might be planning on giving this Dragon and exchanging it for the Rift Herald and maybe a tower or two, top or mid, potentially.
When we start the game, both teams throwing everything in the kitchen sink at their opponents, and it has stalled somewhat, has evened out pacing. Not seeing that full helter-skelter, full court press that we've seen for a good while. And it's just clearing that standing gold on the Rift, making sure that the game of battleships goes your favour, hitting those targets that you need to. And Erdran can't even step up the tower, just has to watch and let it fall.
Yeah, and I might be also proved a slight bit wrong, as BBP is just going to give top lane here. Potentially Ornn might want to look for a TP, looks like it.
Oh, scrapping in the jungle, BBP's here. They're trying to make that opportunity present itself. The depth charge goes out. Chinchilla, they look for an angle to Saw, but fast fingers on the flash. The Ornn Horn comes through. Trenchline back, Raze in the back line. He's just hitting ricochet after ricochet, but it is going to be Aqua to claim the first kill of the skirmish. Grand Starfall into the back line, looking for an angle on the Raze. They found 2, looking for more. Great shield bolt onto Poltron as they lock down yet another member. And unfortunately, much like the Itsy Witsy Spider, This rich Dynasty roster has been flushed out again.
Yeah, really unfortunate. Great movement from the likes of Saw there, dodging that Ari engage. And we talked about it in the draft. That Ornhorn did so much there. I want you to keep your eyes on Saw here. Now, this Ari is the key component. It's their main form of CC, and just being able to escape that means that you're out of luck. Ray's a beautiful dodge, but doesn't have the damage. Even getting all these ricochets off does not have the damage just yet. And now your team's out of steam. The Pantheon's jumped in and is very scary. Can just clean house easily.
I mean, holding that Grand Starfall to the prime opportunity to really extend that fight out is nasty from Urgeran. But you look at it all the while, you had Aqua just pump it away. Jaber plays his life spectacularly in the middle of all of it. But a 1,500 gold lead from the Chudlings, a much scrappier game too than we saw in our first of the evening.
Yeah, I mean, what's actually so interesting about that is you do have something. Look at this gold graph. This is an actually crazy gold graph to witness. I mean, the fact that it has just gone up and down so much, it's like a roller coaster, really shows how good these players are, how much passion these players have in terms of neither side they're fighting tooth and nail. Neither side wants to give an inch or any amount of space here. They both want to take and take and take. And I think here, what we're seeing take the most is this bot lane that we talked about, this Aqua Jaber bot lane, performing so well in every single one of these team fights so far.
Absolutely. I mean, despite a matchup which you'd think was really poor on paper, which we did, I say that it's looking better and better as time goes on. Chudlings, they do drop that subjugate onto Urgeran here, but he's not really the target that's going to have the most resistances right now. And they just back off. Unfortunately, there's not much more to be found. They will drop the Herald up in the top lane. Yeah,
Ray's walking back there, looking like doesn't want to get ganked. We do get this Herald top. It's going to give us actually a very nice sort of gold catch-up. Only 700 gold behind. On the hunt was popped there.
Trying to distance, thought the threat was coming in a solo bolo. Zayla falls to BBP. Unfortunately, the emerald tinted glasses slip. Oh, okay. I don't know where Poltron's going.
Poltron.
Oh, he hasn't signaled. He's crossed 2 lanes of traffic, but he will get himself clear. Over to BBP. Now it's Aqua trying to play spoiler, but Chinchilla's there. BBP's there. Support. Grand Starfall. They're looking for it, but the Pillar of Filth cuts that choke point off, and there's nowhere for Urgeran to follow up.
I mean, I think that sort of driving test that Poltron put on there really set a number in the in Chudling's mental. They had no idea what was going on. We saw the Grand Starfall attempt to sort of be like, is he still here? Where is he? It's just completely wasted now because of how confusing. I mean, even I was confused by that play. But Poltron, I mean, that's why they call him the mastermind of O's. He's thinking 10 steps ahead of everyone.